Headsets.
Headsets. यार वो बंदा ही नहीं आया इसका। मेरे को लाइव स्ट्रीम करना कर दूं ना, बस इसमें ये देख लेना बैटरी लगी हो यहाँ से।
India is one of the most preferred India is also making strides in climate action through the development of its solar manufacturing capacity powered by production-linked incentive scheme. The scheme covers all the stages of the value chain, including polysilicon production, cell fabrication, and module manufacturing, and will help India become a key player in the building and sustaining of diverse, robust, and resilient global solar supply chains. As far as the de-risking of investments that we've been talking about, we feel that it can outweigh the estimated annual operating costs for operating businesses and investors. The mechanisms and solutions we are discussing today will also provide a strong pathway for policymakers towards lowering the cost of decarbonization, more so in high-risk countries, thus offering a quality tool, ensuring that country pledges are more achievable and making ambitious climate action dreams a reality for all. India remains committed to its leadership role in the global energy transition and to promote greater international cooperation to drive it. I wish this panel today the very best as it seeks to mobilize resources, commit to partnerships, and develop new tools and instruments for promoting the ease of access to resources across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, I wish Team Egypt the very best for this COP and look forward to engaging with you in all our forthcoming discussions. It is my sincere hope that as countries, we come out stronger and more committed to make this world a better place for our children and their children's children. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to invite Minister Zakarapoulou to share her thoughts with us.
Merci. Oui. C'est bon, ça marche. So, Honorable Vice Minister, my dear friend, Director General, dear Azai, dear friends and colleagues, I'm very happy to speak today at this event, and thank you very much for this organization. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure to be in India and to co-chair the Assembly of the Alliance with Minister Singh. After its launch by Prime Minister Modi and President Macron in 2018, the Assembly was an important moment to renew our commitment to a just energy transition and to the development of renewable energies. So our meeting today is important because it's a key moment for global climate efforts and energy issues. And we are all engaged to maintain global warming under 1.5 degrees. And if we want to achieve, it is the time of the implementation of the Paris Agreement. That means that we need urgent, global, and concrete actions. And in this case, solar energy plays a key role in facing these challenges. And this challenge has been reinforced by the energy crisis caused by Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. It has led to an energy crisis all over the world, hitting especially hard the most vulnerable population. So in fact, today we have a lot of challenges. We need to provide worldwide access to energy. We need to save energy, and we need to save the climate by phasing out our dependence on fossil fuels. So in the European level, our response as European is the Repower EU plan. That means one of its key pillars is to accelerate the rollout of renewable energy. An EU external energy strategy was also adopted to build a long-term partnership, including on innovation and green energy technologies. In France also, my government and of course our president have made the development of renewable energies one of our key priorities. So in September, the government presented a draft law to accelerate the production of renewable energy. And our goal regarding solar energy is to produce by 2050 to reach 100 gigawatts. So we believe that solar development will bring not only energy security, but also industrial development, jobs, and many others benefits. This is the reason why France and India jointly launched the International Solar Alliance in 2015. Since then, its success has been based on strong political commitment, a tangible initiative, making solar energy a very competitive source of energy in every region. This alliance now is very active with 107 states who have already signed the framework agreement. And what I saw in during my travel in India, it is that we have many things to do, and it is the good moment for the International Solar Alliance to have a champion role. But as you said, Director General, we have to talk about concrete initiatives in which the International Solar Alliance plays leading role. The Renewable Risk Mitigation Initiative, which combines technical assistance and the risk mitigation instruments to leverage private capital. Our colleague from the World Bank is going to update us on this, on their work. Secondly, and the Alliance Solar Facility, which aims to attract private capital to flow into underdeserved markets in Africa. We also need to invest in capacity building. Solar project promoters need access to the appropriate skills to prepare and implement them. The International Energy Agency estimates that there could be 40 million new jobs in clean energy industries by 2030, offsetting by far jobs losses in fossil fuel industries. So this is why the International Solar Alliance has launched, as you said, this capacity building program, STAR-C, in partnership with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. So we aim actually to create a network of expertise and training centers. This will help unlock solar technologies deployment in member developing countries. So our contribution, our French contribution of 1 million euros to this STAR-C program is now leading the project to be implemented, focusing in the first phase on 3 pilot countries: Senegal in West Africa, Papua New Guinea in the Indo-Pacific, and Bhutan in Asia. Beyond capacity building, I want to emphasize the vital importance of risk mitigation instruments to crowd private investment. France is strongly committed through our agency, AFD. So, my dear friends, solar energy has a central role in the near future, has already a very important role, and our alliance, the International Solar Alliance, has a crucial role, and I'm very happy that India's presidency of the G20 next year will be a great opportunity to push forward this alliance. Thank you very much. And I will be happy to come back in India and continue our collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I now request that we start with the panel? If the people on the dais would like to be on the sofas in front, that's fine. In this panel, we look at the kinds of interventions, both that are needed and the experience with those that we have. We start out with my colleague Pragya Gupta, who would speak a little bit about the finance mitigation facility, and then we move on to August Kaume, who will talk about the World Bank's efforts at reducing risk and therefore attracting finance. Pragya.
So good morning, everyone. As we kickstart COP27 with our esteemed panel from across the globe, let me take a moment to thank you all and welcome you all to ISA's pavilion. As we say namaste, welcome and marhaba. As you're aware, it's a mandate of ISA to mobilize USD 1 trillion till 2030. And so to mobilize these finances, we've come up with the solar facility. The agenda for today is why this facility is needed, what is this facility all about, and what is the structure of the facility. So let me begin. As you're aware, the current installed capacity in the world for solar is about 971 gigawatts, out of which 11.5 was installed in the Africas. However, by a study by IEA, we anticipate that the installed capacity for the Africa is going to reach 125 gigawatts by 2030. However, the investments required would be about 125 billion. However, through the stakeholder consultations that we had with various investors, limited partners in the Africa region, we found out that the money was not flowing into the Africas. There was a perception that the investors are not going to get their monies back. One, the financial side, the investors are anticipating a higher rate of return. And on the regulatory side, it was very difficult to get the approvals from the ministries. And hence the need to create this facility. So what is this facility all about? The solar facility is going to be will be comprised of two funds, the Solar Payment Guarantee Fund and the Solar Insurance Fund. We would also have a little pool of solar investments wherein we would be crowning in investments from limited partners, private sectors, and various GPs from across the globe. The Solar Payment Guarantee Fund would be a USD 100 million fund, which would leverage capital of about 5 to 10x and mobilize USD 500 to 1,000 million. We are looking to actually offtake the developer risk in this Solar Payment Guarantee Fund. In the Solar Insurance Fund, which would be a USD 50 million fund, we are looking to provide a premium to the project proponents. We are working with the World Bank Group, MEGA, for this insurance fund. As I said, we're also looking at a solar investment fund, which would crowd in and pool in monies from various investors from across the globe. And hence, what is the purpose of this facility? As I said, the macro purpose is to create a natural environment or an ecosystem for investors to invest in. ISA comes in as a safety net so that both the regulators on the ground and the project investors feel safe to invest their money into a high-risk project. On the financial bit, we are creating a very conducive environment for the investors from across the globe. At the technical bit, we are creating a very strong bankable pipeline of projects for the Africa. And which gets me to the next slide, which talks about a current pipeline of Africa, wherein we are working with 23 member countries in the nation, having a very strong pipeline of 7 gigawatts, which is increasing by the day. And for the next steps, very happy to report that the solar facility was approved by the French minister, Ms. Zakharopoulos, and also our minister, Mr. R.K. Singh, at the ISA's 5th Assembly in October 2022. As next steps, we would be looking to hire a fund manager, and we are issuing an RFP, which is the request for proposal for the selection of a fund manager by December 2022. We would anticipate the fund manager to have a knowledge of working in the Africas, and also if the agency is accredited with the GCF, that would be an additive advantage. Secondly, we are looking to structure the fund both financially and legally, and an approval of USD 2 million was approved during the ISA assembly. We are looking to register and house the facility in a tax haven structure by April 2023. Also, for the 3 funds that I spoke about, we are looking to associate with international organizations. We are working with MIGA, the World Bank Group, for the insurance fund. We're also in discussions with various accredited entities from the likes of FMO, AFDB, AFD, and Triodos, World Bank, etc., to actually come in and invest into the investment fund. A submission of a full-fledged proposal to the GCF is anticipated before February 2023. We also have a panel on the solar facility today at 5 p.m., which talks about the granularities of the solar facility. And for the announcement, we are looking to socialize the facility at COP27 by talking to various investors and governments alike. We are going to launch a similar facility both for the Asia Pacific and the LAC in the coming years. And finally, we're looking to launch the facility during India's presidency at G20 this next year. So happy to take any questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Pragya. As Pragya mentioned, we will have time for interaction with the audience towards the end. But before we do that, can I request Mr. Kwame to share his thoughts with us?
Okay, thank you. I'll go to the podium since that's been the pattern. So, good morning. It's really a pleasure to be here in this pavilion today, and I would like to thank Director General Ajay for the opportunity to be here. Mr. Bala, Deputy Minister, Secretary, it's a pleasure to meet you here, and I hope we'll have a long partnership in Delhi. It's also a pleasure to be in this event, which really connects the World Bank, India, France, and many other countries on this very, very important agenda. You know, I used to work in another country before going to India, and we were in a debate one day with several governments, and one of the governments said, you know, we keep thinking that we have a lot of fossil fuel resources that we want to exploit. We have coal, we have oil, gas, but we forget that we also have a lot of sun exposure. We have solar, it's free for everyone to use. And it's very good to hear that investment in solar has increased, but it's also a bit disappointing to hear that it is really largely concentrated in advanced economies. So the challenge for us as a global community is to help mobilize resources so that the countries that have not locked their energy grid into fossil fuel yet, to really invest in solar so they can leapfrog. And as a global community, we can all benefit from a less steep CO2 emission curve in those countries. So it's really an agenda for the future and for tomorrow. in the World Bank, we are very much aware that data shows that we need to multiply at least by 4 or 5 investment in solar by 2030 if we want to reach the global goal by 2050 for reducing emissions globally. So solar is really part of the solution. And it's not just solar, we also have wind, we have geothermal, and we have other, hydro, other non-polluting sources. But today the focus is on solar. So I would like to share with you a bit what we're doing at the World Bank in that space. As I said, the starting point is financing, de-risking, creating incentives, creating markets. We all know the technology exists now, but we also know that it is very concentrated, both in terms of production and use. What we have made with our analysis have shown through our work with SMAP that we need to kind of de-risk. So a few years ago at COP27, the World Bank and other partners and the minister mentioned that, the Minister of France mentioned that we partnered to create what is called the Sustainable Renewable Risk Mitigation Initiative, which aims at doing 2 main things. One is on the risk side, on the financing side, and the other is on the capacity building side, the skills. On the capacity building side, we are also partnering with UNIDO and others. And let me start with that because we tend to think of the World Bank as mostly about money, but we also really mostly about capacity building. So I'll start with that and then talk a bit about the financing. On capacity building, we are working with several governments, and Maldives, India are very good examples to help government on their own side build regulatory capacity to work with international power institutions or private sector, improve their regulations. And we're also working with the private sector to have a good understanding of the policy framework and how to interact with the government to secure guarantees, to secure market. And more importantly, we are working with the government to build capacity on the broader economy, using TVET institutions to build capacity of the users, as well as important, as it was said earlier, to build capacity of the market for operation and maintenance of solar, for production in countries that can afford to invest in production. And we've done that outside project as well as through projects. And I'll mention the case of Maldives in a few minutes. On the investment side, we're looking at 2 broad sub-areas. One is concessionality and the other one is de-risking. Concessionality is very important because solar is new. It is a kind of public good because the benefit of investing in solar go not only to the investor, but also to the broader society. So not all the return can be captured by the investor. So there is a need for a bit of concessionality. So we are using our convening power with the CTF, the Climate Transformation Fund, with JEF, with GCF, and with many other funds to bring concessionality into investment. And we're also leveraging our ability to bring others, such as the Asia Infrastructure Bank, into investment to bring a bit more public financing into large projects. And this has been working very well in several countries. For the GCF, we have projects in 5 countries. For the CTF, we have projects, I think, in 9 countries. So it is working very well. And what we now need to do is to scale up, because I'm looking at this map where there are more than 120 countries in the International Solar Alliance, and it is only fair for us to have the ambition to work in all of them and bring concessionality in all of them. The second sub area we are looking at is de-risking. There are a lot of risks in investing in solar, and we shouldn't kid ourselves. It's really not a simple thing to do. In the era of fossil fuel, we had these large corporations doing exploration and and exploitation with a lot of public money, with a lot of public support. Many of them were actually state-owned enterprises. And we can't assume that when it comes to solar, it will all be done naturally without support. It will need some public intervention. So in addition to concessionality, we're looking at de-risking. And what are we looking at? We're looking first at reducing risk related to land. Solar needs a lot of land. So, land is not a very simple, easy thing to handle in any country. When you exploiting oil, you go underground and we don't see which land you're using, but when you're doing solar, we see whose land you're taking to install your solar panel. So land risk is a big one. We're also looking at risk related to operation, such as offtake risks, risk of non-payment of international power agreements or delayed payment. We're looking at, frankly, risk of no, delivery on the government side of some agreement. And I'm glad that, you're working with MIGA to mitigate some of these risks. So in our project, both in India and Maldives, we worked on, especially in Maldives, we worked to mitigate some of these risks. And I'm happy to share with you that the results have been really impressive, especially in the case of Maldives, but also in the case of India. In Maldives, our work with the government has helped reduce the cost of electricity by half through large investment in solar, including floating photovoltaic solar, because land is an issue. So you also need to use off-land asset. So we did that in Maldives, and we have in India worked with the International Solar Alliance and the government in two big projects. One is a project that provides infrastructure for the private sector. So it's basically providing, through just 100 million loan, building infrastructure that the private sector can use to invest in solar to kind of de-risk their own investment. And the second one is rooftop solar. And together, I have to say, we have seen our investment leveraging 42 times private sector investment. And this is really impressive. It means that the private sector is there, but waiting for others to lead and help them de-risk. I will close very quickly, but I really, I'll be remiss if I don't say that it is very important for the global community not to leave this agenda in the hands of a few. We are a few, really, literally. And we should thank India and France for the leadership. But this alliance, I think, should go beyond, two countries in the leadership. It should become really, really a global drive for renewable, so that together we can meet the goal of saving the planet. Let me stop here, and I'll be very happy to take questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame. I must now thank Ms. Yeye Catherine, the advisor to the Senegalese minister, for joining us. We do realize that Senegal has a very small delegation, and consequently your coming here is deeply appreciated. Can I request you to share your thoughts with us?
So good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to have to excuse myself because I'm a bit late. Oh, in French, ok. Donc, bonjour à tous. Dans un premier temps, je souhaite le retard qui est et l'ambassade de France de nous avoir conviés à ce dans le mix électrique aujourd'hui. On a un effort renouvelable, notamment le solaire qui représente à peu près 14% de notre électricité installée. 1 MW de capacité solaire installée et qui est injecté dans le réseau électrique de Sénélec. Donc, par rapport à ça, fin 2021, donc on est à 14% par rapport aux perspectives du solaire. Donc, dans le plan de production, l'exercice-là, jusqu'à l'horizon 2035, projet solaire qui était prévu dans ce plan de production-là. Sachant que la capacité, l'objectif de capacité est atteint, nous n'avions pas forcément centrale solaire à venir à l'horizon 2025. À partir de 2025, Sénélec prévoit supplémentaire à installer au réseau électrique en fonction de la demande. Donc, pour revenir à l'énergie solaire, donc comme je disais, l'énergie solaire prévue à l'horizon 2025. Mais en prenant un peu de recul et en analysant ces 120 mégawatts dans son réseau électrique de 2025, on s'est posé la question à savoir, est-ce que ça pourrait être du solaire? Est-ce que ça pourrait être de l'éolien? Ce qu'il faut retenir, c'est que Sénélec fait des études technico-économiques pour voir la possibilité d'intégrer telle ou telle énergie et que le Sénégal a une stratégie qui s'appelle le gas to power et prévoit de développer des centrales gaz pour utiliser les ressources naturelles en gaz. Cependant, par rapport à ces études technico-économiques, nous verrons si les énergies renouvelables sont moins chères pour les intégrer dans le réseau. Il faut aussi savoir qu'on a eu des problématiques d'intermittence qui ont causé des instabilités dans le réseau électrique, mais le Sénégal est en train de faire beaucoup de travaux pour améliorer son réseau électrique, ce qui va permettre d'intégrer un peu plus de solaire dans le réseau électrique du Sénégal. Donc, par rapport au challenge dont on a parlé, il y a celui de l'intermittence, mais il y a aussi celui de l'accès au financement. Donc, récemment, le Sénégal a lancé l'accès universel à l'électricité, qui est une initiative qui a vu la participation de beaucoup de bailleurs internationaux. Et ce qu'il faut retenir, c'est que dans le cadre de cette initiative-là, il y a quand même du solaire, parce qu'on a prévu d'électrifier 4000 villages avec des solar home systems et 1000 villages avec des mini-grids. Donc ça, ce sont des perspectives qu'on pourrait étudier ensemble pour voir dans quelle mesure on pourrait avoir des projets dérisqués et qui permettent d'atteindre ces objectifs-là dans le solaire. Bon, pour parler un peu de la partie compétences, donc formation, etc., je pense que le Sénégal a beaucoup bénéficié de formations dans le secteur du solaire, notamment avec le WAP, le West African Power Pool, qui a organisé une large formation dans le secteur solaire. Donc, par rapport à ce point-là, je pense que le Sénégal a eu pas mal d'initiatives de formation dans le secteur solaire. Donc, je pense que le point le plus important aujourd'hui, c'est comment arriver à stabiliser le réseau électrique au Sénégal pour essayer d'injecter plus de solaire, plus de renouvelables et aussi comment avoir accès à des financements à moindre coût pour permettre, en installant des centrales solaires, d'avoir l'accès universel comme souhaité à moindre coût, mais aussi avec une électricité de qualité en rajoutant du stockage, etc. Donc, je pense qu'aujourd'hui, c'est ça le principal débat au Sénégal. Quelles sont les actions à mettre en œuvre pour assurer une meilleure pénétration que celle qu'on a atteint aujourd'hui des énergies renouvelables? Ce sont les challenges auxquels nous faisons face aujourd'hui. Mais je pense qu'une fois qu'on aura assuré une stabilité de notre base, les énergies renouvelables, forcément, sont une très bonne solution au Sénégal, qui dispose quand même d'un ensoleillement assez important toute l'année. Donc, les renouvelables, nous sommes sûrs, feront part intégrante du réseau électrique du Sénégal. Merci.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry that in the beginning there was not too as far as the interpretation. But I thank Ms. Catherine for her presentation, and especially for focusing on the very country-specific kinds of problems, including that of the integration of renewables into the grid, the capacities, and so on. And we hope that the STAR centers are able to address these issues. Without further ado, can I request, if there are questions in the audience or comments, we would appreciate that before we end this session. If not, can I thank Mr. Bhalla, the Vice Minister from the Government of India, Mr. Auguste Komu, the Country Director of the World Bank in India, Ms. Catherine, the advisor to the Senegalese government, and Christophe. Please convey our thanks to Ms. Zakarapoulou as well for participating in this session. I also want to thank each and every one of you for your presence here. We do realize that the morning of the first day means a special effort to be here, and are grateful for your presence. We thank you and look forward to a stimulating set of discussions as we go ahead. Thank you very, very much. Can I request people on the podium to come here for a group picture?